I walked into my mom's kitchen and saw my 7-year-old scrubbing the floor on his knees. He was doing it so his cousins could sit at the table and eat pie. I didn't yell, and I didn't negotiate. I simply grabbed his hand and left. The next morning, an officer showed up on her porch with a notebook. I had been holding the groceries she texted me to bring, acting like I was her delivery guy. My sister's kids were laughing at a tablet with plates in front of them and pie on their forks. But my son had no food. His plate was flipped upside down at his place setting, like he didn't even qualify to eat. I saw my son's knees pressed into a folded towel, his hands circling the tile with a rag. The cleaner had turned his knuckles red and raw. Behind him, my niece and nephew ate pie and laughed. My mom, in her best grandma apron, said, "Scrub properly." Then she added, "You're here to help, not to eat." The table was for the kids who belonged, and the floor was for the kid who helped. I froze in the doorway for 4 seconds, and 4 seconds was enough for 30 years of, "That's just how she is," to die. Looking back, I'm sick at how often I called discipline when it was just favoritism with chores attached. I knelt and took the rag. "Get up, buddy, we're leaving." He blinked and said, "But I'm not done yet, Dad." I told him, "You're done." My mom snapped, "Where are you going?" He wasn't finished. My sister, sitting 10 feet away on the couch, scoffed, "You're leaving over a little chore." I walked out anyway, buckled my kid into the car, and drove off. For once, the groceries stayed on our counter. On the ride home, he sat quiet, his shirt smelling like harsh cleaner. I couldn't tell if he was scared or just used to it. "How long has Grandma made you do that?" I asked. "Every time," he said. "I help first, then I can eat if there's food left." My stomach turned. "What do your cousins do?" I asked. "They eat," he said. "Grandma calls them sweetie. She calls me boy." Boy. I kept wondering how many times I'd handed him over because it was convenient. At home, I washed his hands, and the cracked skin stung under warm water. He didn't complain. He just watched, like pain was normal. "She says I have to help because I'm different," he added. That word sat in my chest like a rock. That's when I realized he'd stopped asking to go there weeks ago, and I'd pretended it meant he was growing up. A memory hit me so hard I had to grip the sink. I was 9 years old in that same kitchen, scrubbing tile while my sister sat at the table with juice and cookies. My mom used to say, "You don't sit down until it's done." This was the moment I understood she'd never stopped the pattern. She just found a new kid to put on the floor, and I handed her mine because I needed childcare. That night, I filled out the CPS form. I described the rag, the cleaner, the pie plates, and my kid earning dinner. I attached a photo of his red knuckles and hit submit. The next morning, my sister texted, "There's a cop at Mom's house. What did you do?" Later, I heard the officer ask my mom why one grandchild had to do physical labor before eating while the others were served. She tried to dress it up as responsibility, but then she admitted, "He knows the routine. He's been doing it for months." My mom called me and hissed about humiliation and the neighbors. I told her, "You humiliated my son first." She said, "I raised you like that and you turned out fine." I laughed, sharp and ugly. I didn't turn out fine. I turned out thinking love is something you earn. I told her my son isn't coming back, and I hung up. A few weeks later, I made spaghetti on a random Tuesday. He washed his hands with regular soap because dinner was ready, not because he had to earn it. His knuckles were smooth again. He sat at the table, and I set a full plate in front of him. No conditions.